I'm so excited to jump into this conversation that Ken and I are going to have. A lot of times as parents, we are scared and we don't even realize it, and we don't want to help our children navigate their freedom. We're actually terrified of the fact that they are free people and we don't know how to manage that. So in this podcast, we're going to just dive into talking through this idea.
Okay, I want you to speak into this because I feel like this is a real strength in your life as a parent. And that is basically, don't be afraid of your kids' freedom, because I think that there's a tendency as parents to want to control.
Yes.
Because we get scared of our kids stepping in and becoming, free thinkers. But think about this. Everybody at some point begins to think for themselves.
That's true.
It really starts when they're toddlers, for sure.
Right.
Even before that, they begin to think for themselves. But once a kid hits what we might refer to as like adolescence, they really start to develop their own personality, their own gifts, their own ideas. And we have to not be afraid of that. And it's not too scary when they're like, 7 and they're like, look, Mommy, I colored this giraffe green. We're like, great, you had an idea to color green. I'm so proud of you.
Right.
But when they turn 16 and they're like, I have an idea of, buying a moped and driving it 20 miles down the highway or whatever, like they start to think outside the box even more, but now it feels like it's a little bit scary.
Right.
And what do we do with this? Or I like that cute girl. You know what I'm saying? Like it starts to look different. So speaking of
I
this,
think because as a parent, we have this perspective of we've understood and suffered some consequences to choices, and we then begin to project like those things onto them.
that's a good point.
Of, I don't want you to experience the same consequences that I experience, so I'm going to try to control you so that you don't have to. Because usually that's what it boils down to. But I think the thing that has helped me the most in this whole perspective of your children having this freedom to be free people, again, where our job is not to control them. Our job.
It's so tempting.
It's easier. Let's be honest, to control them.
Yeah.
It makes us feel safer.
It does. And when you see them getting ready to do something that you deem to be unwise, it's, I'll say tempting, but easier to just be like, no, you can't do that.
Right. And not even have a conversation with them, which you have to start doing as they get older. But this is even where like the whole idea of helicopter parents come in.
Okay, before you talk about helicopter parents, let me just say something about what you just said. You said that's something, I think you said something you have to do, right? Is to have a conversation with them.
Yeah, as they get older.
As they get older. But the thing is that you don't have to.
Right.
But you're wrong if you... No.
You should.
I know. Well, I mean, they start to, gain their own
to.
voice. And so, in a sense, you have to have conversations. But how many parents have we seen that are like, no, you can't go. For example, one of our kids was like, I want to go floating with some of my friends. I think it was a float trip, something outside on a river or something. And I would rather just be like, no, I just stay home. Because then I don't have to think about how is he being safe around water? How are the people that he's going to be around? Are they going to be foul-mouthed? What are their parents going to be like that are going to be there? Like, I don't have to think about any of those kind of things. But it's important for us to say, oh, okay, that's something you would like to do. Tell me about this. Right. So they're asking your permission. They want you to say yes. But if you automatically say no, and you say no every time, they feel controlled. They feel...
They're going to just do whatever they want to do.
Eventually, they're going to be like, peace out, Girl Scout, because they don't view you as somebody that's trying to help them step into adulthood. They view you as someone that's trying to stifle them and keep them from stepping into adulthood.
That's right.
There's a huge difference. So if your answer is just no all the time, and sometimes your answer can just be no, and that's just the end of it. But if you are always, that feels like a withdrawal to your kid, and if you never deposit some yeses in there and process through with them, then you're going to end up withdrawing more from their bank account than what you got put in there.
And we've even said, I'm going to say yes to this, but I don't want to say yes to this. But
Yeah.
you've stated your case, and this is something that you want to do. And because we've developed this relationship where I trust you, I'm going to honor your decision.
Yeah.
Even if we'll say, I don't like your decision.
Yeah.
And actually I've come to this place where I've said to them, your decision, it scares me. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you that right now so you can know where I am. But you're going to do it. So go ahead and do it. This is a yes here or whatever. And then if it turns out to be a bad yes, then the goal for them,
I'm not going to say I told you so.
right,
We'll talk
is
through it.
to be a safe place for them to come back and land and then be able to talk through how come it didn't work out, or they're gonna, helicopter?
I interrupted you. You were going to talk about helicopter parents.
I know, but before I talk about that,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I wanted to say what really set me free in this area is that I realized as parents, I'm not, so to speak, I'm not a dictator, but what I am is a person who is learning how to continue to help manage free people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And help them manage their freedom.
That's right. My goal is that when they leave my house, when they launch from my house, that they have learned how to navigate their freedom. And so I have to tell myself that even in hard situations, in this moment or in this place, and I've had to go back and even say to them, I didn't help you navigate your freedom in this because I was dealing with my own fear and insecurities, and I was thinking about the consequences that I reaped because of a choice that I made. And actually one of our kids said to me, why stop doing that? Stop putting me and placing me in who you were and the bad choices that you made, because you've raised me better than that. And I was like, my mind was kind of blown in that moment, because he was saying, you've taught me things. And so my goal isn't to make the same mistakes, but I do want to live my life. Will you let me do it? And will you not be scared that I'm going to make the same mistakes that you did because you didn't have somebody to tell you the things that you've already told me? And I was like, wow, okay.
Good perspective.
That actually that helped me gain some freedom myself and allowing them to be free. Because I go back to, I'm not their owner. I'm a steward.
Yeah.
And my job is to steward them.
God gave us his kids that we call our kids.
Right. And
to manage them and help them and steward them.
To steward them so that they can be good, productive, healthy people in society, and they don't have this tension of, you didn't ever let me have a voice or have a say, or you didn't teach me how to navigate my freedom. So because you just control me, I want to run away, and I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do because I like it, and because you said I couldn't do it, and because I'm now as an adult have to figure out how to manage this freedom that I was never taught how to do it. And they don't do it well because they don't have a safe place to go back to because they're an adult, and now they have to suffer all of the consequences when they're in our homes as young kids, and the consequences aren't as big. And yes, they don't have to have the responsibility of carrying all the weight of it.
Yes, and part of the, helping them to step into freedom, into where they use that liberty as a human being correctly, is that you want them to be secure in it.
Yes.
And when you shut your child's voice off, you are instilling in them, a byproduct is that you're instilling in them that their voice doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And so that can become internalized.
Right.
And it's not anybody's intention, but it can become internalized to where they start to think that they don't have any value.
Right.
Because nobody wants to hear me. Nobody wants to listen to me. There is a place that's very important that as it's when your kid starts to think for themselves and wants to start doing things without you because they don't need you like they used to. But before they're ready to take on their own life and live their own life, and it happens typically between the ages of like 12, 13, and 18. It's in that time frame there where they're like, I want to go and I want to do. But at the same time, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to sleep inside tonight.
Right.
Like they can't, like I wouldn't have any food because I don't have a job or whatever. So it's this middle ground there, and how we handle it will help bring security to them and affirmation to them that, like, yeah, you do have a voice, and your ideas and opinions and thoughts, they actually do matter. They're important, and we just want to help you navigate it. And then when you get out into society, not only are you going to be an asset to society and not a drain. When we say society, we mean school, work, church, friendships, all of that, mm-hmm. like an asset to that. But you're going to be confident in and of yourself. But here's, to me, one of the greatest benefits of doing this is that, and I've seen parents go to an extreme where they don't parent their kids at all. And
that's actually not helping them manage their freedom.
That's not helping them. But what happens, and here's one of the greatest benefits, is your kids get older and get their own life, and they don't disdain you.
Right.
They actually want to have a relationship with you. And I love that, because to me, if I could spout one of my biggest fears, is that it would be that my kids get older and don't want to have anything to do with me. Yeah. I do not want that. And part of the reason that happens is sometimes parents grip so hard because they just maybe don't know. You have to help your kids walk out their freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's scary. And one thing that I've found with communicating back and forth and helping them navigate their freedom is that you find out their perspective on something, and a lot of times it's very different from your perspective, and they see or view something completely different, and I'm like, oh, well, I was only thinking about it this way. And they're like, well, what about this way? And how about this? And, just opens up really great dialogue, and it helps build trust between each other. But they're never going to want to talk to you if you don't value their thought process and helping them. It's asking a lot of questions and not saying you can't do this because I said so. That worked when they were little, but it doesn't work as they get older, because they want you need to help them to be able to navigate through their thought processes.
Yeah, this is a good way to put it. When they're little, you have to create boundaries, because they don't have the ability to do that.
Right.
So you take a newborn baby. Newborns they basically rule the roost. But by the time they hit 4 to 6 months old, you start to determine when they take a nap. Mm-hmm. Like, you help them set the schedule, when they're going to eat, that kind of stuff, especially when they get into toddler years. You really you can't do this, you can do that. No, and that's the way it should be.
Right.
You have to do that with your children. When they're that younger, you set their boundaries. But when they get older, you have to help them set their boundaries.
That's right, because if you don't help them do it when they're older, they don't have any boundaries.
They don't even possess the skill to make boundaries.
Right.
So the way that this could look is there's been, I'm thinking of our second one. He's traditionally been he's probably the most fun one in the room, but he's probably the most difficult one in the room too. And for us, we've learned a lot parenting him. And he's taught us a lot. He was the one that taught you that, what you just talked about a minute ago.
So much.
Yeah.
Grew me so much.
He's one, there's been instances where he'll make, because he's an extrovert. He's a people person. And he'll be like, hey, can I go, different times, hey, can I go hang out with, and he'll name some guy. I'm like, well, who's that? He's like, well, he lives down the road. well, how do you know him? He's like, oh, I met him when I was bowling with these other people the other night. Well, I don't know who that is. And he's like, oh, he's a pretty nice guy. He's wanting to hang out and go fish in the creek. And for me, I want to be like, no, only hang out with church people. They're safe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Right.
my comfort level. But then I've had to be like, okay, well, that's cool. I mean, so he's got similar interests than you. I mean, how do you feel? So then this is where we'll go, be like, well, how do you feel about him? Do you feel like he's somebody that's like good to hang around? And then like in that scenario, it was like, I think he is. I'm like, okay, but if he wasn't, you would probably wouldn't hang around somebody like that. I'm like, no, I don't want to have bad influence, but he's got similar interest to me. So
Right.
I think, he wants to go fishing at the creek. Like processing through that instead of just and being willing for them to be around somebody like in a situation like that might get there and have a total foul mouth and start smoking cigarettes or something. Being willing for your kid to be exposed to that and trusting that they're going to come back home and go, you know what? The kid actually wasn't that great to hang around. I think I'm not going to do that. You've just helped them be able to set a boundary. And the only reason parents don't do that, some don't know to do that, but oftentimes they're so scared that their kid's going to go down the wrong way or that their kid's going to do something to make them look bad as a
Right.
parent.
That's usually kind of
Yeah.
what
And
it
we
goes
have to
back-
get rid of that stuff.
Yeah, is like how if you do that, how will it make me feel? And if you do that, how will that make me look?
Yep.
And then we base everything else around that. And so that's
Which is
very,
like selfish parenting.
It is, and it's very detrimental. And it just shows actually some insecurities that we have in and of ourselves that we need to deal with. And it's not fair to project that and make our kids punish. We basically are punishing them for how we feel or don't feel.
And what I found is that our kids will surprise us when we instill good things in them, love them when they're real little, and then when they get older, our kids probably will surprise us on how well they'll come back with, I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to do that thing. Because our third one, there were some people that they have some kids that I like the kids, we like the kids, but the family is, maybe a little bit challenging. And one time we let them because of the circumstances, we let them stay the night there, which we typically don't do a lot of that, but we had peace. We felt okay about it. And then another scenario came up and he's like, I would like to hang out there, but he's like, I don't want to spend the night there. He's like, I just don't want to spend the night there.
Yeah.
And
He came to that
I was
own
like,
conclusion. And nothing bad happened.
no, nothing bad happened, but it was like in general, it's not the kind of thing we would let him do a lot because, and anybody listening to this, you could be like, oh my gosh, is that my house? It's not. Trust me, it's not, because the people that it was wouldn't listen to this, so it's fine. Don't think it's you. Anyways, I felt the need to say that. But he set that boundary on his own because we gave him some freedom. Now, if your kid's going to get run over by a car, you set the boundary, no matter what obviously you have to make that choice. So if you see your kid that's going to you're not going to let him get in a car with, a crackhead and be like, tell me how it goes, son. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously you can say no, but you have to find room for them to make decisions.
And even, if it's a bad decision and it's a bad choice, you have to get to this place where you're going to be okay with them making it and then just be safe for them to come back to and tell.
And if they'd be like, dude, I totally screwed up. Be like, okay. Well, we're here talking. Let's talk through it.
Yeah. And most of the time they're not going to do it again.
As if the rest of us haven't done something stupid in our life.
Come on.
Sometimes as parents, we act like our kids, not that we want to encourage them to do stupid stuff, but we act like our kids, if they did something stupid, then it's the end of the world. And it's like, wait a second, we're here. We're pressing into the Lord.
I did some real stupid stuff, okay?
Yeah.
When I was younger, and I'm still okay. And it even come back to I'm still a good person and I'm following the Lord and I love Jesus and I have good relationships and I didn't make all the best choices all the time, every time. And I still and this is where then we have to trust the Lord. with even our kids and saying, I'm stewarding them the best that I can, but ultimately you're the greatest leader, and I'm going to trust that they're going to come back to you and follow
To
you.
the Lord, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's a
Amen.
big thing. We didn't really talk about helicopter parents. We could come back and do that a different time because there's some good things about why we would
That
do
applies
that.
to
but
younger kids. Probably
does.
more, but that would be a good conversation to talk
Yeah,
about.
we might do that.
So we'll do
another
that
time.
another time. Yeah.
All right.
So good deal. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Family by Design. I pray that you were blessed as you listen to the word of the Lord for your life today. I want to encourage you to go on and leave us a review and a 5-star rating. If this ministry is blessing you, go to our website at www.wartmen.org. There you can find more resources, and you can also consider partnering with this ministry. If you like what we're doing, we just pray that you would at least join us in prayer and consider supporting us financially as we take the gospel deep into the hearts of people. Gospel preached, hearts awakened, and nations reformed.